And welcome back to the Film Reelcast. It's been a while since I've done a video. I've been doing the podcast. I hope you've been enjoying them. What I'm about to do is just review, it's going to be a spoiler review of a film called Beneath. It's 2013. It's a horror, more of a comedy, which is trending on Netflix. It's just come on Netflix. As I say, it's been out before and it's just been re-released on Netflix. And worryingly, for some reason, it's trending and it's doing quite well. And I watched it last night. I had no idea what it's about and I was in fits. I watched it with a wife and we both were in fits. It's just so funny. Whether it's meant to be funny, I don't know. It's about a killer mutant fish that lives in a lake, and I'm selling it already as a real good film, a real draw. And no one knows about this fish, but it's urban myth between the locals in the towns. And it's about 6 friends who have just finished college who want one last trip together. And thankfully the cast is really small in this. And it stars the characters called Kitty, Johnny, Simon, Matt, Zeke and Deb. And it's got a character, Mr. Parks. You'll probably recognise Mr. Parks from Ace Ventura as the really moody, scary landlord who's trying to get Ace Ventura out of his flat. So just a reminder before we do get into this in any more depth, just check out the podcast we've got on iTunes and on Android. We're doing them every week. We're adding the Winter Soldier, Falcon, the podcast there as well. And obviously the videos, you've got several playlists now and it's growing every single week. So please go and check that out. And as it says below, please subscribe as well. So all but Mr. Parks, the cast for this film is very young. And I've not seen or heard of any of them before. And it's probably a reflection in their acting because it's really poor. And sometimes it's so cringeworthy. Again, it does have you in stitches. So typically in these kind of films, you've got the more dominant figures. You've got the 2 male jocks. You've got the 2 token gesture females. You've got a geek and you've got a bit of a loner as well. So they've ticked all the boxes there. And before they go out on the lake, you get Mr. Parks, who obviously knows Johnny and knows his family, and warns them about going on the lake. And Johnny promises they're just going to cross the lake and they're not going to go in it. So you get the feeling that Johnny knows that there's something in the water. There's something scary that they shouldn't go in. But he promises that they won't go in the lake. So as the film starts, you see Johnny in his bedroom getting ready to go away with the rest of the gang. And he kind of forgets something. He runs back and he gets his tooth. And it's a massive 4-inch, 6-inch tooth on a string. And he gives it to her when he meets Kitty down by the lake. And he says to her, wear this at all times because it'll protect you from whatever's in the lake. She thinks obviously he's a little bit bonkers because there's no mutant creatures in this lake. And it won't surprise you, as soon as they get in the middle of the lake, you've got Matt and the 2 girls, Deb and Kitty, obviously want to go in for a swim. They are advised, do not go in this lake, but he cannot say that there is a mutant fish in this lake. So they're in there swimming. And that's when we see the fish. And as you can see, there is a comical fish. I was so surprised. The first time I saw it, I pissed myself laughing. It was the opposite reaction I got when I watched Jaws. And there are lots of films like this where people are stranded. I mean, you've got The Shallows, you've got The Meg, you've got Reef, you've got Piranha. There's so many other films that are like this that have been done much better. So expectedly, one by one, they do die. And their deaths are pretty lame, to be honest. You don't see much. I mean, the fish is so rubber, it's so fake. The more they show of this fish, the worse and the more laughable the film gets. And you'd think that they'd row. They've got oars in the boat and they're trying to row. But every time the fish comes, they're trying to push the fish away by using the oars. Despite the fact that he tried to do that with 1 oar and it got broken in half, he does it with the second one and gets broken in half, leaving them stranded in the middle of the lake. They've got no motor, they've got no way of getting to the shore. So at the moment it becomes them against this rubber fish. The only thing Simon does do that is of any use, of any benefit, is when he uses one of the broken oars to stab this rubber fish in the back. So as I said earlier, they start dying one by one. The first to go, unfortunately, is Deb. She gets a nip on the arm by this fish and it cuts an artery and it releases more blood than about a football team's worth, and the boat is covered in blood. They try and stop her, but they're completely unsuccessful. So what they do is they decide, being good mates, being close friends as they are, to throw her off the boat, use her body as a decoy. Whilst the fish is eating her, they can then paddle and try and get to the shore. This is a theme that carries on throughout the film. But what they do is they work out, very similar to Lord of the Flies, of who's the weakest, who doesn't really play a part in life, who can't add anything to society, and the person that is gets thrown off the boat. So initially they decide that Johnny is the one who needs to go. He's the strongest swimmer, and the two brothers decide that because he was the one who hinted that he knew there was a monster there, they're trying to blame him. Any excuse whatsoever. So rather than be thrown off the boat, Johnny, who's got the necklace around his neck with the tooth on, decides to jump off, and he goes underwater and vanishes. At this point we don't know whether he's dead or whether he's made it to shore. And bearing in mind it's pretty much 100% that you're going to die if you jump off this boat, how easy they are with their conscience of getting rid of their friends one by one. And bearing in mind they're their close friends. So after Deb's death, after Johnny's supposed death, they again vote on who's the least popular, who's going to at least contribute to life, and possibly who's going to die next, just so the three of them who'll be remaining can survive. And thankfully the person they choose is Zeke. Zeke videos everything. He's the most annoying person. He's the one of the group who doesn't really have much social skills. He's very geeky. He ticks that box. So before they throw him off, what he says is that because he videos everything, because he knows everything, he's the kind of person who's a peeping Tom who will watch people without knowing they'll be watched. He says that Simon and Kitty were actually cheating behind Matt's back.
Ask her who she's been with on this boat!
You have no...
Ask her, ask him! Ask him who she's been with.
He's so
He's
full of
lying.
it.
He's
He's
trying to
full
save
of
his
it, man.
ass.
Simon and Matt are brothers, so this is a massive blow. But it's a kind of a mind game. Is he doing that to survive, or did it actually happen? Regardless of that, they decide to chuck him in anyway, and the fish eats him. And after a lot of completely bad acting, the fish is ramming the boat is sinking. Every time they try and use a tool to bail water out the boat, that they then use it as a paddle and the fish eats it. Time and time again. These guys have got no clue how to survive. And it's funny because you see more of this rubber fish. And I love showing pictures of the fish. Look at this glorious fish. In its prime, completely made of rubber. Fair play to them. The eyes move. Whether that's animated over the top of it, I honestly don't know. So when it's Kitty, Matt and Simon on the boat, they think everything's over. They've got nothing left to paddle with, but the hero returns. Johnny made it to the shore. And funnily enough, he's wearing that long necklace with a massive tooth on, which appears that it protects you for some unknown reason, which is never explained. Again, it's never explained why this monster is in this river, or in this lake rather. So Johnny comes on a boat to rescue him. He's got a little one-man motorboat, and he's on his way, and he agrees to throw a rope out. And he says that he'll tow them, that he won't let them in the boat because they just agreed and voted to throw him off. So he starts to tow them, and the fish comes up. The fish starts to push the boat round, as you can see, push the boat round in like a spin. And in doing so, causes Johnny to be strangled by the rope that he's thrown out to Simon and Matt. This is a really unfortunate and funny, comical turn of events. So in the fact that he tried to help them and he's come back because he loves Kitty, that he's ended up choking himself and he dies. And it's a funny death. I was surprised about this because I thought Johnny was going to be the hero. So believing that she cheated, they decide, being the real gentlemen that they are, they decide to throw Kitty off the side of the boat, who is Matt's girlfriend, who's possibly cheated with Simon. To ease their conscience, they justify it, that the fact that she's a whore and that she was cheating and that she's no good. So they chuck her off the boat. And she's on the side of the boat and she just goes underwater and she vanishes. Which is a very strange thing to do. So you presume that she's dead as well. Again, just like Johnny, you don't see it. So we're left with Simon and Matt, the two brothers, who decide the best way to get out of this is have a fight on a boat, which is really funny. The acting is shocking. And by this time, you don't give a shit who lives and who dies. So the boat starts sinking and they both start swimming to shore. And as they're swimming back to the shore, Simon can see that this big fish is behind them. And he does the brotherly thing. He does the brave thing. He kicks his brother, Matt, towards the fish. And he gets eaten by the fish. So it's only him left. It then goes to Kitty, who in fact isn't dead, who didn't swim to shore, but is on top of a boat, and she's been laying there all this time. So Kitty grabs the long-toothed necklace from a floating dead Johnny as he's passing by the boat, and she puts it on herself, and decides to make a swim for the shore. I mean, how the idiots Simon and Matt didn't see her. I mean, it's an open lake, there are no other obstacles. The only other thing in that lake is a boat, and she's the one laying on top of that, and they still didn't see her. So unfortunately for Kitty's sake, her and Simon meet at the shore at the same time as they've both just swum in. So they meet on the shore and Kitty realises that Simon is a complete psychopath. But she plays to him and pretends that they'll be girlfriend and boyfriend and everything will be okay. Simon sees through this, or he may not see through this, but either way he decides to kill Kitty. So he starts drowning her and he kills her. So we've only got Simon left. All of these deaths are so pointless. They're so wasted. There's hardly any blood. There's no tension to any of these deaths whatsoever. And by this time, you're not invested in the characters and you don't give a shit who lives or who dies. And as Simon is walking to the shore, Mr. Parker, who's the old man, remember him from the start? The moody landlord from Ace Ventura? He turns up and he knows what's happened. And he questions Simon and says, what went wrong? I told you not to go into the water, and where's Johnny? Simon tries to play that he's the victim, that he's really, really distressed. But what Mr. Parker does, he picks up Zeke's camera and he says he found it on the shore and he's watched it. So he's seen everything happen. He's seen the fish. He's seen them vote out who can die and who can live and why. And being a friend of Johnny's, that what he does is he shoots Simon in the leg and tells Simon to go back into the lake. And as he does that, the fish eats him. Again, you don't see it, it fades to black, but you hear the noise of Simon being eaten. And it ends. Again, there's no explanation as to why the fish was there in the first place. And the deaths are pointless, the acting is terrible, but the fish, for me, is the star of this. The fish is so funny, it's terrible looking. It's 2013, guys. You could make a better fish than this. I don't know what the budget was. I don't know how much they were paid, but it's just wasted. But if you've got an hour and a half to spare, and you don't mind a few laughs, and you purely have got nothing else to watch this film. But it's just terrible, honestly. I put this on my list and I was quite excited. When I read the synopsis of this, which I will give to you now. 6 high school seniors celebrating in the middle of a lake find themselves trapped in a rowing boat due to a man eating fish. You know, now having seen that film and reading that synopsis, a part of me even feels a little bit destroyed. Okay, that's my brief review on 2013, currently shown on Netflix, Beneath. As you probably have guessed, I don't recommend watching it. I don't think I'll ever watch it again. But I've watched it, so you don't have to. Okay, remember to check out everything else on the YouTube channel. There's loads of different playlists now. Cobra Kai, Mandalorian, Falcon, and Winter Soldier. There's just so much to watch, and single non-spoiler reviews as well. And also on iTunes and on Android, you've got the Film Realcast, a podcast, which is a weekly podcast I do with some very good friends of mine, Neil and James. Paul sometimes comes on there as well. We're doing the Rush Hour series, and we're doing the Terminator a franchise as well after that. So something for everyone. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to subscribe and leave some feedback. And I'll see you very soon. Thanks very much.